the Conservative Party directors, the trustees, the governors, have decided that there will be a leadership race in June. That's when it's going to be, with a whopping entry fee and other rules. Here to give us the update is our friend Andrew Lawton with TNC.news. That's the True North, folks, and we'll talk to Andrew in a moment about his new show there. Andrew, great to see you. Happy New Year. Bring us up to speed with the Conservative leadership race. It'll be here in about 6 months, am I right?
Yeah, it's going to be coming in June, and we have a significant field of potential candidates, few people who have said definitively they are in fact running, and a growing number of people saying maybe it's time to sit this one out. But I think you touched on something important with the entry fee. The party is going to have a $300,000 entry fee, which means even if you raise, let's say, $500,000, you only really have to run a campaign $200,000 left, because 300 is going to the party. And this is done very deliberately to keep outsiders out of the field, to keep people that don't have a hope at winning and aren't able to fundraise nationally out of the field. And the other thing that's distinct this time from the leadership race when Andrew Scheer won is that we're only dealing with about a 6-month field of runway here, rather than the 1.5 year long campaign that had at one point 15 candidates in the field. So there are some changes. It's going to be a much smaller field this time around, and I think that is going to be very determining to who is in it. And also Lisa Raitt, who's the co-chair, has said that people have 10 days to make up their mind. So it is really a snap judgment we're going to see here. Yeah,
I got to tell you, I think that there needed to be earlier winnowing last time around, but this, in my own reaction, this is much too high a hurdle. I mean, $300,000. If I recall, it was $100,000 last time, and that I think to raise $100,000 is a sign you're serious. That's a real amount of money, but $300,000 to triple it, that seems to so conspicuous, Andrew, that I'm going to call that the Peter MacKay, Jean Charest rules. That if you're a plugged-in insider who's got lots of money, then you like these rules because it keeps out a more grassrootsy, populist opponent. I mean, $300,000 would be nothing for Peter MacKay or Jean Charest, but some grassrootsy reform party style, or even PPC style MP or outsider, that's probably insuperable in the short period of time they have. That's my own reflex. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a truth to that. And one of the things that you'd know, Ezra, I mean, you've been in this political scene for quite a while, is that the Conservative fundraising strategy as a party has always been those little $20 donations at a time. And in fact, everyone has this image of Conservatives of being the deep-pocketed wealthy types. But when it comes to election financing, Conservatives have always relied on grassroots donations. So it is interesting that this leadership model in many ways is skewed towards the alternative to that, which is, okay, someone like Jean Charest, call up 300 of your friends, get them each to give you $1,000, and then you're off to the races, which is basically a single cocktail party for a lot of those people. But at the same time, I'm not convinced that it's a bad idea to have rules that constrict the field. I would much rather have it where you're out if you don't have a certain support level or something like that. And I don't know what that would look like, but base it on support and not money, because you could raise, to go to the old rules, $100,000. You could raise that in one riding. If you were a popular MP that had no hope of leadership, you could get that, because that's how much you spend on an MP campaign. So the $300,000 forces you to look nationally. It forces you to look outside of your immediate comfort zone. But I'm more interested in the time frame they've set to make up your mind, because one of, I think, the most motivating factors to getting into a leadership race is if you're not happy with the field of candidates. And if they're saying you've got, with basically less than 2 weeks to get in, well, that says to me you can't wait and see, and then if there's no one there, then get in the race. It means that they're really picking from a field that's already determined, which is the people that everyone thinks are going to run.
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show, which is a show I do every day. I do a monologue, interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at premium.rebelnews.com.